But the last one that I want to talk about quickly, which honestly put the nail in the coffin for me, was this. Either you clicked on this video because you want to quit smoking, or because you have stopped smoking and you're watching videos for motivation to continue to stop and to never smoke again. Now, you need to ask yourself, do I actually want to smoke? Do I actually want to quit, right? These are the two most important questions that you need to ask yourself, and you need to really figure out and understand within yourself. Watching other people explain things to you and try and tell you your story and why you should do things is not going to help, right? And if you are just doing it and umming and ahhing and you don't really know and you're sort of 1 foot in and you're not fully committed, this video isn't for you, right? This is just me explaining how I went all in and how I committed to it and how I quit smoking. I smoked every single day for, I don't know, 6 years or something like that. Smoked cigarettes and weed every single day, all day. Skated and smoked. All of my friends smoke. The works, right? And I try and quit so many times, right? And just try and cut it down a bit. I would try and not buy stuff, and then you just relapse, or you would just end up smoking more. I never vaped, which is something I'm proud of, but you know, not being ready and not truly being committed to quitting smoking is the biggest mistake a lot of people make. They will just try and quit smoking and try and brute force it and think, oh yeah, I'm 3 days without smoking, and they'll just relapse and they'll go back to it worse than ever, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, it's not that bad. It's not going to help anyone, right? You need to be ready. You need to truly appreciate what it's going to be like when you don't smoke, and truly question yourself if you actually want to keep coughing your lungs up and the first thing you do on the way to work in the morning is smoke a cigarette in the dark, and you haven't even had a fresh breath yet and you're already sparking a cigarette, and you can't do something unless you've had a cigarette, or you can't enjoy a moment because you've had a cigarette, because you're not smoking a cigarette. All this stuff, right? It seems so futile. Anyway, I finally decided that my time had come, and it's not for me anymore. I wanted more from my life. I wanted to allow my body to heal, and it's just not good for you in any way. I mean, just filled with toxins and disgusting things, the smell. But you know this, right? So for me, what worked for me? Because once I quit, I think I've quit for maybe 2 months now, maybe 3, maybe 4. I can't quite remember. That is a very important point. I don't have a day in which I quit, right? And I'm not counting the days. I just stopped smoking and it's not part of my life anymore. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I actually had a couple of cigarettes and I couldn't even finish them. I went into the city and walked through the town on a Saturday night to reminisce on what life was like before, when I would go out and party and smoke and all of that jazz, and yeah, smoke some cigarettes. And I physically had to force myself to smoke them, and they were just messing me up, and I couldn't even finish both of them. So did have a little bit of a relapse, but it wasn't like I smoked and I was like, oh shit man, I missed this, and I got back into it. No, because I'm not a smoker now. And so it's developing that mindset and understanding and appreciating that you're not a smoker. Because if you see it in the way of, I'm a smoker who's trying to quit, then you will be a smoker. Whereas if you see it as, I'm not a smoker and I don't want to smoke, then you will not smoke, right? Anyway, 3 things which really, really, really pushed the boat over the edge and really helped me. First of all is, God bless them all, but you see homeless people. Now, I use this quite powerfully for myself, that all homeless people, all people down on their luck, they all smoke. Bar none. I'm pretty sure every single person who is homeless and living on the streets and living a rough life, they all smoke. And so this connection between this sort of person and this activity really just opened my eyes to realize maybe it's not the best thing, right? And they've always got money for cigarettes. They always make it work for this one thing. They have to have the cigarettes. But when it comes to anything else and progressing in their life, then not so much. Now, I'm not judging. People have different reasons for being where they are. They've got different situations going on. I am not judging them in any way. But I just noticed it as a very, very clear common denominator between everyone that I see. They all smoking cigarettes. So that sort of put that perspective in my mind and sort of linked between smoking the cigarettes and living that sort of life where you're just so dependent and it's just such a major part of your life. This toxic stick is such a major part of your life, right? So that was a big eye-opener for me. Number 2 is the connection between smoking and being on your phone, right? Now, so many people, you see them, and if they're with other people, then fine, it's more of a social thing, whatever, they're talking and interacting with other people. But if you see a smoker by themselves, they will be glued to their phone like this and scrolling. Now, this is just one bad activity mixed with another bad activity. And the theory I have for this, right, the way I think about it, is that you've got this negative habit that you're doing, smoking. And the truth of the matter is, it's gross and you know that. And so when you're with other people, it's not too bad. But when you're actually with yourself, by yourself, with your own thoughts and your own actions, your mind needs to be occupied by something so you're not actually thinking about the actions that you're taking. And so it's just a big link of negativity, right? Because it's almost as if you know how bad it is, no matter if you're addicted to it or you just do it for the sake of it, whatever your reason for smoking is, right? But you and your brain both know it's not good and you shouldn't be doing it. And that's just something I've known of all ages, right? Unless it's a really old person that doesn't have scrolling on their phone as an automatic response to social anxiety or being alone with their own thoughts. I've noticed it with all young people, even with vaping, with smoking, like middle-aged to younger people, right? It's very rare that you'll see, unless they're like looking at a view, right? If you're looking out on a view and you're smoking, you're enjoying the view. But even then, you're still taking your mind away from this act. And that's what it's all about, is unlinking that response between you smoking and what you're actually doing. And so understanding this sort of connection and detachment from what you're actually doing just made me realize, like, shit, even I know that I shouldn't be doing it. So that was another really powerful one for me. But the last one that I want to talk about quickly, which honestly put the nail in the coffin for me, was this. Filming myself smoking. Now, I quit smoking and then I ended up buying some more cigarettes. And I just knew how gross it was, right? And so I took that video and watched myself smoke and watched it back multiple times and said, that's enough. I know it's gross. Look at me. I look gross smoking. And I think that was the most powerful one, to actually physically see it for myself from an outside perspective, not from my view of looking just me smoking like this, but actually watching me smoke was also very powerful. So I think just changing the perspective that you have on the act of smoking is very powerful. And using these 3 things means that I am not a smoker anymore. And it's beautiful. My lungs feel amazing. I feel amazing. I have a lot of other problems to worry about and overcome. So just removing these bad habits one by one as just, I can't half-ass things like this. Went cold turkey on alcohol, went cold turkey on weed, cold turkey on cigarettes, sort of, because I ended up having those 2 and that one. But for the most part, they're gone, right? And it's just how it works for me. So I hope that when you're smoking and you automatically go pull out your phone, you can just think, why am I doing this? Right? It's for comfort. You want to create comfort in this disgusting position. Or when you're out, just look at every single homeless person that you see and they're all smoking. And then when you're smoking, film yourself and just watch it back multiple times. And look how uncomfortable you look when you're looking at yourself smoke. That was a big eye-opener. So hope this helped, and best of luck on your journey.